Hi, I'm Stephan Kesting. I know a lot of martial artists have concern about overwhelming fear if they get into a real fight and have to use their skills for real in a real situation. So today, 3 approaches or 3 techniques for dealing with fear in a real life situation. There's sort of 3 different levels, and this all assumes that you actually train. If you don't train, well, then there's a 4th solution. That's start training. Assuming you do some training, now what are you going to do? There are sort of 3 approaches. One is accepting the fear, the other is controlling the breath, and the third is progressive desensitization. So we're going to talk about each one of those in turn. Accepting the fear. So what happens when you're in a situation where you become afraid? You get sweaty, you get jittery, your breathing might get a bit more shallow, your heart rate elevates. What's happening? What's actually happening is you're getting a fight or flight reflex. Your body recognizes or thinks that there's some danger there for you and is dumping adrenaline into your system. This is a very, very useful adaptation, actually. The reason that you have it and the reason that I have it is because it saved the asses of our ancestors ages ago when there was a woolly mammoth chasing Thrag, my great times 100 grandfather on the plains of Europe somewhere. The adrenaline kicked in and Thrag ran just a little bit faster and got away. Or when he needed to run after another Neanderthal or something and spear him, that adrenaline, the excitement, allowed him to do it. So this fight or flight reflex, this adrenaline dump, is a normal thing. It can go too far. And we're going to deal with how to control it in a little bit later in the video. But the first thing to recognize is that it's a good thing. So instead of going, oh my God, I think I might be fighting this guy and my hands are getting all shaky, reframe it. Go, oh, good. I'm getting some deterioration of fine motor control. I don't need fine motor control here. What I need is increased pain tolerance. What I need is increased ability to keep on going if I'm injured. What I need is increased strength. That woman, whether it's true or not, who lifted the child off her car with a massive adrenaline dump, kid got trapped under her car, she lifted it off. I guarantee you that it would have been difficult for her to put on an earring in that moment because of the massive adrenaline dump. So would you rather have super strength, super speed, super injury resistance, super pain tolerance, or the ability to put your earring in? I think in a fight, you're going to go for option A. That big adrenaline dump serves you. So reframing it as opposed to going, oh my God, I feel my heart racing. Go, good, my heart's racing. I'm getting ready. This is excitement. Think of it as excitement. Think of it as your body getting ready, rising to the challenge. It's the race car revving its engine right at the start line. That's what's happening. So if you reframe it, if you understand that this adrenaline dump works in your favor, it's a team of wild horses. Now you have to have those wild horses and control them and make them go in a direction that you want them to go. And you have to retain enough intelligence to use them intelligently, because all that strength lifting the car off the kid doesn't serve you anything if you're lifting the wrong car or the wrong end of the car. So you've got this team of wild horses. You still need your brain to be in charge of it. So understanding the adrenaline dump, understanding your fight or flight reflex, doing some research on this topic is really worthwhile. So now, what's the second thing? The second thing is controlling the breath. Now, I'm not very big on mysticism, but many mystical traditions, I guess you could include yoga in them, which I actually am a supporter of, talk about using the breath to control the body. Now, you have to watch out for hyperventilation. If you're panting like that, it's like that silly pass-out game that the kids play in schoolyards where they and then they hold their breath and then they pass out. Well, you don't want to do that. It's okay to be panting and breathing heavily if you're actually running like crazy, if you're in an all-out street fight, if you're doing everything you can in the clinch to control somebody, then it's okay. You're burning all that energy and you need oxygen in to burn essentially your sugar, your fats, your fuels. The more oxygen coming in those situations, the better you're off, if you're using all that energy. But if I'm still trying to negotiate my way out of I dinged someone's car. I'm driving, we have a little ding, a fender bender, and I get out and there's a big scary guy and he's really mad. if we're still talking and I'm still trying to defuse the situation by, look, man, I'm really sorry, that was my fault. I'll get it fixed. I'm sorry, it's your favorite car. We'll get it fixed, good as new. It doesn't serve me in that moment to be hyperventilating because I'm going to be getting more nervous, not less nervous. So learning to control the breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. That's a typical pattern. Some traditions go in through the nose, hold, out through the mouth. It depends. Any kind of breath control work that you do, whether you're just focusing on your breathing, when you're stretching, if you're doing yoga, if you're doing mindful meditation, whatever it is that turns your crank, the breath control, if you then apply it in the stressful situation before the shit starts to go down, is super useful. Now, when you're actually fighting with a guy, when you're actually running for your life, when you're trying to catch somebody who, has got your kid under his arm and is running away, go ahead, hyperventilate all you want. The more oxygen in there in the moment, the better. But before you say compete, a lot of competitors get this massive adrenaline dump and they're burning all their energy before they actually need to. So control of the breath is key. You're going to control it in training. You're going to control it in sparring. You're going to control it when you're stretching. If you do meditation, if you do yoga, focus on the breath there. I'm not telling you anything new. I'm not telling you anything that your meditation teacher isn't telling you. Focus on the breath there and then use it in that stressful situation. Now, the third level or the third approach to dealing with fear. It's a little bit late if you get into a fight and you're trying to do progressive desensitization. This should be part of your training regimen. When they take soldiers, brand new soldiers, and they show up at basic training, they don't immediately throw them into this gigantic scenario with bombs exploding and people getting shot. They don't, and pig's blood all over the place. No. They start with somebody yelling at them. So that's a certain level of stress. With that certain level of stress, they become acclimatized to it. Now they've got to do drills and load your rifle with somebody yelling at you. Now you got to run over a simple obstacle course. They say the full-on simulation with bombs exploding and crawling under barbed wire with the machine gun shooting above your head for a little bit later in the training. They're gradually amping up the level of stress, and these guys are slowly learning that they can deal with, oh, he's just yelling at me. That's okay. Oh, he's just yelling at me as I have to do something. That's okay. Oh, I got to make it over this obstacle course. That's more stressful than the other thing, but that's okay. It's a gradual, progressive desensitization. How does that work in training? Well, initially, I think going into a martial arts school for a brand newbie, a brand new person, is inherently stressful. They don't know if the people in there are going to rip their hearts out and eat them on the altar of their Buddha god or whatever they think is going on in that martial arts school. So that's a little bit of stress. And if you train, you've gone through that little bit of stress. Next thing is looking like an idiot in front of class. Like you're throwing your jab and your cross. Maybe you're doing it all wrong. Well, again, you're exposing yourself to a little bit of stress. Now you're working with a partner. She throws a cross, you slip, and you follow up with your own cross or whatever. Well, maybe she's going to hit you in the face. Maybe you're going to screw up. You're working with somebody, it's again a little bit more stressful. Then you learn, well, I got hit in the face, and guess what? I'm still alive. Okay, so now you've learned to deal with the stress of getting hit. Now you're going to be doing, hopefully, some kind of progressive sparring. Sparring with only the jab. Well, again, it's a little bit more stressful. Now you move on to full sparring, punch, kick. Now you move on to MMA sparring. You're progressively getting more and more realistic. Your training partners are getting better. Your training partners maybe are getting bigger and meaner. Maybe eventually you decide to compete. I think competition is a great tool for self-defense. If I'm a jiu-jitsu guy and I go out to a competition and I do a completely unrealistic street technique, my whole plan is to go out to competition and pull inverted Della worm guard, which really only works with a gi, to sweep the guy and pass the guard and then hold him. It's not a strategy I advocate, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not a very street lethal technique. Again, it doesn't matter. You're going out there and you're competing in front of potentially hundreds of people, your teacher, your teammates. You're not going to die, but your body doesn't know that. Your body is like, oh my God, I have to defend myself against this attacker. The honor of the school is at stake. The honor of my instructor is at stake. The honor of jiu-jitsu is at stake, all of which is wrong, by the way. The honor of none of those things is at stake. Doesn't matter. Your body's still thinking it. And by going out there and trying to do your moves, trying to do your techniques, trying to do the stuff that you've been training, under in that situation of increased stress, that inherently desensitizes you to stress in general. Now, when some big guy gets in your face, you're like, well, I've been here before. Oh, good. I can feel the sweat beginning to happen. If this does go down, I know I'm going to be more flexible. I know I'm going to be stronger. I know I'm going to have a higher pain tolerance. I hope this doesn't go down. But if it does go down, then I'm ready to deal with it because you've put yourself in those stressful positions before. So just to recap very quickly, number one, realize that the adrenaline dump is a good thing. It works in your favor. It's a team of wild horses, and if you learn how to control those horses, man, you've got superpowers. Number two, control the breath. Controlling the breath means a couple of things. Before the shit goes down, it means not hyperventilating or alternately not holding your breath. And when the shit actually is going down, it means breathing big and deep, perhaps even towards the hyperventilation end of things, and not holding your breath. The third is how you train. The very nature of training is usually progressive desensitization to stress, to conflict, to violence, and that'll come in super handy if you, God forbid, ever have to use your martial arts skills in the street. Couple places you can go for more resources. selfdefensetutorials.com. It's one of my websites. I cover a lot of the psychological aspects of self-defense as well as the physical techniques of self-defense. The YouTube channel, obviously, the Self-Defense Tutorials YouTube channel, and then the Grapple Arts Radio podcast, where I cross-promote a lot of this stuff as well, which I'm probably going to be rebranding pretty soon, but if you sign up for that feed, then when I rebrand, you'll be able to follow me on that podcast. So those are three really good resources if you're interested in this sort of stuff. Anyway, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and good luck with your training.